Shit, man, joking already. What's going on, champs? Hope you guys doing well. Happy Monday. Really appreciate you guys being on the stream as well. Smash the likes button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. We're gonna have a look at what the crypto market is doing, dollar index, the ES, BTC, Ethereum, the usual stuff. We'll talk about FTX and Binance actually. It's been an interesting weekend, in regards to what's going on with the whole Sam situation, insolvency and all that kind of stuff as well. So been a bit Paul is saying happy FUD day. It's been a quite an epic FUD, but at the same time I'm very, very cautious. That's the word, really. I'm very, very cautious about FTX. I'm not trading on FTX. I haven't used them for a very long time, in all honesty, and I have double checked last night that I've got no funds on them, so I'm not using them for the time being. Well, for the only time I actually used them, to be honest, in all honesty, was to sell cope. That's the only time I use them. Apart from that, I'll stick to Binance. I think Binance is a better exchange and whatnot. There's been a. Let's talk about that actually. Let's talk about that. Let's get that out of the way. We'll get that out of the way, and I want to hear what you guys think about it. I mean, because the last time we've heard about, a project being over leveraged, which was Luna and the whole UST situation with Do Kwon, and he was cocky and arrogant, size is not size, and all that bullshit. And it's funny. It's like that line will stay down in history forever, right? That was his moment, and he's in Europe somewhere. I don't know where he's at, but probably in Stoke-on-Trent. But the last time that was used, right? Someone was really cocky, and I was listening. I remember there was a quote that Denzel Washington said. He goes, well, this is after actually the fucking Will Smith smack in it. When Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, and Denzel goes to Will Smith. He goes, "Careful when you're at the top. The devil whispers the hardest." And it's very true though, because when you get to the top and you feel so comfortable and happy, and oh yeah, I'm on top of the world, and you feel like you're a king, you're a boss. It happened to a lot of crypto guys as well. During the bull market, everyone felt like a king, because they're earning millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars or whatever. And then the bear market came and showed you listen, that's not the case. No one's a king. The only one king is the one up there, right? So, I mean, I'm not talking about King Charles. I'm talking about God itself. I'm a God-fearing person. But so, and it just shows you you can't just be arrogant. You can't be such a knob, because when he wants to collapse on you, it will collapse on you. No one thought Luna was gonna shit the bed to zero. I bet you that. Same like oil. Oil itself, right, back in 2020. I remember 2020 during the COVID stuff. It went to minus negative 20. What the fuck is negative 20? When did that ever happen? Obviously, you couldn't actually buy at minus 20 on the market itself, but that's what it came out to at the end. So now with this whole FTX situation as well, and Binance and the CZ's talking about how he's going to sell his FTT tokens over a period of 4 months. That's what he said, over a period of 4 months, without affecting the market structure and so on. But it's going to affect it because it's going to be a dump of 2 billion, something like just over 2 billion. So it's a tricky one. We'll talk about that quickly first, and then we get cracking on there. So I just want to give a quick shout out to all the guys on here. So we got Gandalf here. What's up, my bro? We got Din Van Hung. Drama Monday, waiting for your analysis, bro. Appreciate that. Paul Sinclair, happy to have you here. Cryptiques in the house, good to have you here as well. Rico, what's going on, my brother? Mr. M, we got Valet. Open a little long position. You know what? I was looking at you can, because it's at macro support. We'll try and cover that up actually as well. You can definitely open up a long, but you're gonna have a wide stop in my opinion. But because there's uncertainty, I'm not looking to long or short. I'm gonna stay out of this and then wait for a clearer setup on this as well. I didn't take the shorts on Luna, so if FTT starts to collapse, shit the bed, I'm willing to short this down. So, but we'll have to actually adjust and see what goes on as the market comes up. We know we've got the midterms coming up on Tuesday, so tomorrow, and CPI coming on Thursday, I believe. We'll quickly look at the calendar and then whatnot. Okay. So who else we got? Got Elswin. How you doing, brother? John Kabush is here too. Good to have you here too. Mr. M, bro. FTX and Alameda stinks. I don't have a good feeling about this. I remember what they did to Reef, screwing them in an ODC deal. Yeah, the thing is, right, aren't they Sam? Doesn't he support war criminals and shit like that? I don't know if this is true. This is literally what I saw on Twitter, so I can't quote this. I can't say this is a fact. But When I saw that, I'm like, yo, okay, let's just take a step back and see what's going on. But we got Christian from Austria. Morning to have you, Christian. Good to have you here. Morning to have you. Morning, Christian. Good to have you here, brother. Guna's in the house. We got Dean as well. Shout out to all you guys, man. Smash the likes, right? And let's get cracking. So, I'm gonna open up this document, right? Not document. This page. It's on Protos.com. So it gives a backstory of what's happened there. Let's just bring this up. Gives a bit of a backstory there, and we'll just work through this quite quickly as well. So there's some crypto trading firm Alameda Research broke. There's an interesting concept there. So CoinDesk has obtained the financial documents belonging to Alameda Research that provide an unprecedented view into its financial position and entangled relationship with sister company FTX. For those who don't know, Sam has two companies. Number one, he has FTX, right? FTX is the exchange that most people know. And also he has Alameda Research, which is like a hedging fund. He's got a funding department as well, a funding company as well. So those two run side by side with one another. This is where it gets interesting. You got, picture this, right? You have an exchange, and on the exchange you got your token, just like Binance have BNB tokens. You got FTX have their own tokens called FTT tokens, right? And then at the same time, you have a research department, which is for for funding, for hedge funding and whatnot, for to get into projects in the future and whatnot, called Alameda Research. So those two run side by side to each other. So they should theoretically on the books be very different, all right, in terms of what is owned and what's not owned. Okay, what's going on, Nick? Good to have you here as well. This is, I don't know if they support criminals, but they donated 30 million USD to Democrats last election. That's similar to supporting criminals. Yeah, I mean, it's all political in it, so let's not get in too much into this. I'm gonna leave that to everyone's own, because everyone's got different views and opinions on when it comes to politics and stuff like that. So I'm gonna leave that to you guys to decide on whether it's supporting war criminals or what, or criminals itself, or supporting war. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. That's not my business. I don't want to really get into this. This conversation can go off topic very, very quickly. So we got those two research. We got Alameda and we got FTX. Okay, so the balance sheet should be not the same, right? But this is where it gets interesting. So what he says, as of June 30, Alameda has approximately 14.6 billion in assets with approximately 8 billion in liabilities, documents revealed. Okay, no problem. This balance sheet may not represent the entirety of Alameda, but it paints a picture of a trading firm whose apparent growth and success has come from investments in assets very closely tied to FTX. Now, this is where it's interesting, because if you've got like a research team, right? Cool, you've got another company called Alameda Research, although you own FTX as well. If you've got most of your projects, right, like most of your assets is closely tied to FTX, and you start to question yourselves, like, well, are you kind of shuffling things away? Like, because you can easily mint your own tokens, right? You have to remember this. Sam, right, can mint his own tokens and then fund that over to Alameda Research, where they can sell that as USD and have more money coming in. So this is where it gets a bit tricky now. Okay, so it runs by its founder, by Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay, so currently tokens, and this is the point that I want to pay out, right? Which is, for me, I was like, I don't want to long it and I don't want to short it. I just want to wait for the right technical analysis for me to long or short, but leaning more to shorts here. Currently, tokens on Alameda balance sheets that have a market on FTX are valued 50% less than the current price of FTX. Okay, FTT or other FTX is an exchange token issued by FTX and allows users to receive a discount, blah, blah, blah. Using this metric, Alameda Research had 3.66 billion worth of unlocked FTT, and an additional 2.16 billion in FTT collateral. As of June 30, a total of 5.82 billion in FTT token alone stood on its balance sheet. 5.22 billion is on the balance sheet. However, the market cap of FTT was 3.32 billion. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite decent at maths, innit? And even if you're not good at maths or whatever, or you're really good at maths, surely that doesn't make sense. If you've got a market cap of FTT tokens that's worth 5.82 billion on your balance sheet, but the real market cap is actually 3.32 billion, what the fuck's going on? You clearly, something's not right. Either you're printing tokens or whatever the fuck is going on, but it's not right. So obviously, Alameda Research was valuing the FTT, held approximately 160% of the total market cap of FTT. It held 160%. And this is where it gets all messy, and obviously we know what happened. So this all came out He's shilling his own tokens and whatever time of the week, and he's been doing this every week. He's been doing this every week since like for I think September or August, around that time. He's just buying FTT, and obviously he burns a third of the portion as well with the whole situation. And obviously, CZ comes out, right, and this is another thing, and this has happened back. This was back on Cointelegraph, sorry, from August 20th. CZ comes out about jitters in it. Just learned the new word jitters on one particular exchange. Sometimes your order will be stuck for a bit, and a few other orders will get in front of you. Apparently, this has happened often enough in this exchange that the traders coined a term for it: jitters, front running. Now, he didn't say which one it was, but he was, it was FTX pretty much. That's what happened. A lot of the VIP in Binance confirmed that it was FTX that was actually causing that issue. What that means by jitters is, for example, if you have a buy, let's say you got a buy order of Solana tokens. I'm just throwing up or let's say Bitcoin. You got a buy order of 20k, right? And price at the moment is at 20.5k or whatever, and you want to buy at 20k. So if you hit that 20k first, you are stacked at the top. So when the price comes to 20k, it sells into your orders first. And whoever comes in afterwards, like let's just say I put it in first, and Mr. M, then we got Justin and Cryptique, right? I'm just giving examples. This is so once my orders are completely bought up at 20k, then you got Justin will come up next at 20k, then Cryptiques will get filled out. But if it bounce off, and then Mr. M was below at the bottom, right, and he bounces off 20k, he won't get filled out. But what was happening on the FTX exchange was that instead of me, then it goes to like Justin, then Cryptique, and Mr. M. What was happening? It was Mr. M, Cryptique, Justin, and then me. I was staying at the bottom, so my orders wouldn't get filled out, and it was coined as jitters. And obviously, this is when the whole situation came out. And this was in August as well. So recently, FTX froze a user's account who sent coins to Aztec Networks, ZK Monies. According to FTX, Aztec Connect to Aztec Networks has been identified as a mixing service, which is high risk activity prohibited by FTX. In response, SBF backed FTX's decision to monitor the accounts, citing anti-money laundering compliance. However, they refuted claims by adding, but that does not mean that the account was frozen. It's just a mess. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a fan of this, right? But if you ask me who's gonna win this war, Binance or FTX, I'm gonna have to side with Binance, in my opinion. I'm gonna have to side with Binance, but it's not looking good, right? It's definitely not looking good. And at the same time, we all have seen the tweets. CZ has just announced over the weekend that he's liquidating his FTT tokens, which he's actually bought from private sales or whatever with Sam, and he's stepping away. But I can say one thing for sure though. If you look at this, right? Let's bring this up, FTX USDT. Last buy bit. Let's bring up the fucking FTT USDT. Sorry. Let's use it on their exchange, right? On the FTX exchange. From an analysis of what's going on, right? Just off the bat, we got this is support. That is support there. On the weekly, right, we've had a close below here. Now, is this a deviation to step back in? I don't know. If you step back in and break out these highs, that's for me is confirmation. This is your final confirmation because we've got a bullish market structure into these lows over here, right, into this area here. Once we break out, then we can play to the next level of this, and then into these areas as we go on level to level. All right, that's one, right. Number two, that's if it's a deviation, right. Number two, right. If it's going to be a short, and this is for a long perspective, it's going to be a short perspective, right? Obviously, this is what a support. Now, at the same time, if I'm going to start looking at where the next targets are, just similar to how to Luna was doing, I'm going to have to start looking for, let me go on the monthly. The monthly shows me a bit more clearer in depth, right? We got all this inefficiency right over here. These are all fair value gaps. It's all filled out there. It's going to be filled out eventually. Does it get filled out? Now, I will mark out this high, right? Because that was a range band environment from here. This was a range band environment. And let me just extend this out. That's your range band environment that we had for a number of months. I said 1, 2, 3, 4 months. 4 months worth of range bound. Then we broke out to the upside and off we go. Okay. So we got that. And at the same time, we've got this. Got this low here, right? So it's still looking at support off the monthly. That's support. As long BTC and Ethereum is looking bullish, I think this can still be a support for a trade up. I wouldn't really want to trade it so much, but if it's gonna be if it's gonna get liquidated and it's gonna get fucked up, right? Then any breakdown, close below it, bearish market structure. We short this back down to these areas there, probably into like what $4.50 off a monthly is kind of mad though. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, your invalidation will be here. I'll probably put a stop loss over here, but I'll see how this area works because this is a consolidation over here. Once we lose this consolidation, break down, bearish market structure, play level to level. I think target one has to be here first. That's the target one off these highs, which comes in about what $13-14, let's call it. Then we play it from there. That's pretty much it. That's the gist of FTT for those who are interested. I mean, if I were to look at the 4 hours, how would I look at it? 4 hours. So let's have a look. Right, of the daily. Right, so we've got a range band environment. Well, daily at first, yeah, first target will have to be here, off these highs there. Fuck off. See that higher in particular, right there, just into that, which comes in about $13. Yeah, let's call it $13, which makes sense. Just off a range band environment. Let's have a look how we got. If we got from a range band environment, what's holding support? Right, this low here is holding support, and I would say it would be this high there, right? Oops. From an SR point of view, right? That's the range band environment. This will be the mid range, and you can see quite clearly we've lost the mid range there. There's a deviation, did a stop run, sells off back into range low. Now, if it was to be bullish from a range band perspective, hold above it, we play it level. This is target 1, squeeze target 2, and then we'll see what happens. If we hold above it, show bullish market structure off these highs, that'll be then target 3, and then we squeeze to target 4, and that's it. And that's how I'm going to play it within a range band environment. And if we do a breakout on the upside, we can play it to these highs, and then once we take out these highs, let's see what happens. It will be coming to around $37-ish kind of thing. That's one way of looking in the bullish play. If it's the bearish play, then quite simply, all we have to do, fuck off. All we have to do quite simply is let it do its thing. We've got these highs there. We've got these markets over there. Let it do its thing. Breaks down. Shows bearish market structure. These areas here, you see these particular areas that's coined over there, right? All these lows. That's going to be holding a support. The moment you lose this low here, close below it, and you retest, short the fuck out of it. Hard stop would be, well, stop loss there. I mean, your invalidations there. We're playing it back to $13. And as a trading point of view, right? From just a trading point of view, let's have a look. If I were to do a short position to $13, I'll short this to about, let's say here, right? Enter in here, $13, around probably here to $13. So 14, yeah. It's a 2.7R move. Right, and that's just off a swing play. So it's not a bad move there. And then if we play it lower, we go it level to level. That's pretty much it. We don't really know what's going on. We're gonna see what the market does. At the same time, although this whole shenanigans going on in terms of like close this laptop here. Although we got this whole shenanigan that's going on with FTX versus CZ and Binance. Who gives a flying fuck? I'm not on it. I haven't traded on it for a very long time. I've got no tokens there. It's entirely up to you guys. I wouldn't actually hold any tokens there. I wouldn't not hold any. I wouldn't hold anything in FTT because if it starts collapsing, and we've seen what Luna's done. I'm not spreading FUD. I'm just giving you the insight of what happens because you don't want to be holding anything that's going to be fucking you over, right? The only point is, really and truly, is just to stay safe. As long as you stay safe, you're going to be okay, all right? That's my pretty much my perspective in terms of this whole FTT situation there. From a trading point of view, is that support? I'm not going to short it. If you break support, take the shorts. If you hold support, it's possible for longs. We play level to level as we go, as I discussed there, on a range band environment. When it breaks out, it breaks out. Because let's just say the market becomes bullish. If the market is bullish, I think this whole FTT situation gets swept under the rug for a little bit. People will forget about it. That's crypto. People forget about everything. You know, it's so easy to forget about shit. And so that's what it is. I mean, it's making lower lows and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree with that. It's literally stuck within here, pretty much. This area here. That's where it's stuck in there. This is the range band environment there. That's the deviation of the tire range there. That's what it is, pretty much. But who gives a shit? We'll see what happens as it unfolds. Let's talk about dollar index. Dollar index is important. New week, get the whole thing started. Let's see what's going on. We got Skin Face now. What's going on, brother? Justin Waters here. Chelsea, good to have you here as well. What frightens me the most is CZ's part due to recent revelation that came to light. Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it though, if the balance sheet comes out and you were holding 5 billion worth of tokens of FTT, and then the thing is, the market cap at the time was at 3 billion. That's not right. Like, we're talking about 160% more than what the actual market cap is. It shouldn't be above that. It shouldn't be like that. You should be holding less than what the market cap is, because other people are holding FTT. It's not like you're the only one holding FTT. So you're definitely printing money. You're printing it somewhere. And if you're printing it, that's not good. How's that safe for anything in terms of support, you know? And you know, it's just messy. It's just messy. But from a technical standpoint, I'm just gonna let it do its thing. Establish support, long it. Break support, and finds resistance, short it. That's as simple as that. That's all I've got to say about it in terms of FTT and the whole situation there. I'm not trading anything on there. I haven't touched it for such a long time. I don't want to touch it in the meantime. I'm gonna let this whole thing clear up. And if you ask me, what would I rather hodl, FTT or BNB? I'd definitely hodl BNB, 100% over anything. I'll hodl BNB. FTT, you know, well, it's what do you guys think? You tell me. I mean, I that's my opinion. I would like to know what you guys think though. What's going on, Derry? Good to have you here. Joe Crates in the house. Good to have you here. Everyone's all good, man. Hopefully, Thomas is here as well. Morning to you two as well. Hope you have a great weekend as well, man. Sorry, I hope you had a great weekend. So, dollar index, let's just break this up. Let's do this quite quickly. And we'll squeeze into BNB. Not Binance. Fuck. Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then we'll see what's up. Midterm. Oh, yeah, before we carry on. Market, thinking the Forex market. Let's have a look at what's going on. Anything interesting happening on the week. Nothing really going on today. So, it's all just like normal stuff and whatever. Tuesday, congressional elections. Because the midterm elections happening. It's a whole day itself. So, it's going to be a bit of maybe a sideways action. I don't think there's going to be much happening on Tuesday probably, but we'll see what happens after the elections. Things will be a bit more clearer coming up on Wednesday going forward. Thursday, what we have CPI on Thursday. That's going to be an interesting thing as well. And then Friday, we also have the preliminaries UOM consumer sentiment. That's what's going on this week. So from a trading perspective, I want to be quite cautious on tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then I'm going to play level to level on a weekly basis. And we'll see what happens if we can get any swing plays going forward. So, I mean, the market as a whole with this whole FTX situation that's happened has actually pulled back the market quite heavily as well. Solana's announced they're teamed up with Google. Well, Google announced first, I believe, that they teamed up with Solana. And, you know, it's the buy, like, before we even go into Dixie, it's just a, yeah, I'll show you. We've gone the 4 hours, right? Literally, it's like buy the news, sell the rumor. Buy the rumor, sell the news. That's what it is. This whole situation was the whole Google announcement, and then this happened because of the whole FTX situation as well. So it's just a massive pullback. So as long we don't lose this level here, we'll still got some bullishness, but we'll talk about this as we go along, right? So let's have a look. Dollar index. Just dollar index quickly. Let's go into it. Right. So weekly, what's happened on the weekly? Looking at last week. Well, all we've done so far last week, we've taken out last week's high, right? So taking out last week's high, we closed within last week's range. This is last week's range, which means there's liquidity resting here. So I'm leaning towards bearishness, going down, to the bottom side, taking out liquidity. Question is, once we take out the liquidity, do we hold above it? And is this range bound, play it level to mid, back into the high, into this area here, into this block there? Do we find resistance and then sell off, or do we reclaim and hold above it into these levels, hold above this high? That's bullishness on dollar index. Crypto goes down, stocks go down, everything goes down, and then we'll see what happens there. And then we'll look for, like, if Bitcoin comes to 12k, if it does, happy days, we'll start looking to buy. That's what we're looking at in terms of the weekly. At the same time, on the daily, right, if I show you this, we've got this, right, a trend line still in place. The trend line hasn't failed us at all yet. We haven't broken out of anything. This is the trend line. No, I'll say this one here, right here. Right about, you can do it like that. Yeah, you can do it like that. And you can see the trend line, support. You can say that's pretty much support itself. Didn't touch it anyway, but support. And we're coming back to these areas here, back into this here. The amount of times we touched it once, twice, 3, going to the 4th time. Do we finally break out of it on the downside? on a perspective of breaking down, bearish market structure, play it back down into SRs. This is an SR. This is where we're going to find support. This is a range of the SRs. Play it back into this level here, and then squeeze it back into the base of it. Oops, the base of this right here, and then into there. These are levels going to be working at level to level as we work our way down. That's if, right? If, let me get rid of that, we start breaking out the trend line. That's the one thing we're looking for. So it's still holding in place. You know, we can't say it's a swing low. At the same time, we are showing market structure to be showing lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Take this out there, find resistance, off we go. That's what we're looking for. So we'll see what happens. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but again, after the midterm election, it becomes a little bit more clearer. So that's what we're looking at. But at the start of the week, right, we had a gap in the market, right? So go on the 1 hour, pick up all the shit, delete all that. What I've got here, it's a number of lines here. The focus really is this. If I just highlight this low here, this high, I'm going to delete everything in just a second there. I've got too much levels I need to get rid of. You know, I'm going to do this afterwards anyway. But looking at this quite clearly, in terms of dollar index, right? It's a range band environment. Nothing's really changed there. And you can see the mid-range, we got deviation, resistance, break up, support, deviation, come down, resistance, deviation, so whacks up into here, front runs this shit out, like stop runs this, there's a stop run, sells off, found resistance, and it plays back to range low, there's a deviation, reclaims the level, and it starts to step up. So that once it starts to step up, right, and we're playing range band level, right, what you'd be looking for is quite simply the idea of we want to see how the mid-range holds. As on the mid-range holds and shows bullish market structure, you'll be looking to play it back to 75% of range, because this is a range band environment right there, and then from there reclaim that range high, that this between this range there, play back to the range high, take out liquidity over here. But the fact is, we're not doing that. It's now showing us, like, you know, it's showing us heaviness, right? So if I were to draw, for example, like a trend line from this high to this, you can see pretty much that's how it look like. Resistance, deviation, resistance, deviation, resistance, resistance, sell off, right? And it's come back to range low. It's falling back to range low, and this is weak because if we can't, for what we would want to see on dollar index for bullishness is a breakout the trend line, retest, hold above the SRs. That'll be your long, playing it back to level, right? That's what we're looking for. But what's happening now is we're finding resistance and we're starting to break down and we're making these lower highs. Now we started off with a gap in the market during the open itself. Then during Asia we start finding resistance at the 25% range, and now we filled it up. So now we filled it out. Now what I'm looking for potentially is, let me just zoom into this. This to the side a bit more so everyone can see. Yeah, so what's interesting is now, do we come into this now? So we've got a bit of a range band environment right here. This area here, it's acting as a bit of a not cocky little shit. It's acting like a bit of a bitch over here, right? Consolidation, breakout, retest this area, consolidates there, then we get above. We find support, then we get up. We find support on the base, then we find support off the top of the consolidation to push up high to the mid-range, and then we do a deviation in the mid-range to sell off. We find support, breaks down, clean smash. You see this? Let me just hide this. We got a clean smash right here. One single 1 hour candle breaks it down. So what I'm looking for potentially is any retest, whether it comes into this area, because we got this, again, got inefficiency right here. So whether it comes into deeper pullback into here, right? Or it comes into the base of here, no problem, whichever it wants to do. The moment we get back down and finds resistance, this is your shorting opportunity. Stop loss above here, come back down, play it back to range low. And this will give us a bit of breathing space in terms of Bitcoin. Now, with midterm elections, right, coming up tomorrow, I'm going to be a bit cautious, right? So having this in mind, that we're going to be having a push into the market, a potential push, right, which makes sense because all this, I've got a lot of lines here, man, fucking hell. I think I need to restart my PC as well later. It's just acting a bit slow. But yeah, so you can see that once we lose this level here, we clean smash it, we do come for a retest. So I'm looking for a retest. If we do a retest, crypto's going to come back down on a lower time frame. It's going to pull back. So I'm not taking any longs. I was looking for longs on Bitcoin in the morning when we came to the weekly open, and I'm like, you know what? I looked at dollar index. I'm like, I'm going to be a bit cautious about this and wait for a breakdown. Once we lose this level here, lose this level in particular right there, minus resistance, that will be confirmation to play it back down on, you know, lower prices as we go down. So that's what we're looking for dollar index, right? Nothing too special there. See how it goes. Now, the S&P is quite interesting, right? The S&P, let me delete this. Right, delete this. What we got here, right? Interesting key levels here. We got September's high, September's low. Take out liquidity, find support, pushing up or to the mid range. So we push up to the mid range and we come back on a deeper pullback, right, to September's thingy. September's 25% of the range. Now, if it was to be bullish, what I'll be looking for bullishness, right? You see this high here? Let me just zoom into this. See this high in particular? Right over here. That's capping the market. Confirmation for longs would be getting above, holding support. That's your confirmation. Then we play it back to 75% of range and then play back to range high. That's what we're looking for. So, but we're a bit further away from there, so we're going to have to be a bit patient. If this happens after Tuesday and Wednesday, then no problem, we can long this. But what I'm looking for is what's going to happen. So we've got a bit of a consolidation going on here. So on the weekly, of the weekly itself, right, because it's a new week, what we've done is last week we've taken out the week before high. Taken out that high there, and we've also taken out the liquidity over here. So we are stuck within this range. Okay, so if I were to do a range bound environment from this candle itself, that's the range high and that's the range low. Where are we sitting at? Let's have a look on the 1 day. Right, we do a bit of a deviation. Let me pop this over here. Do 2 hours. Right, so we've taken out liquidity on both sides of the market, right, up and down, and then we've done a deviation and we're holding support off the low of here. Okay, now this is the high that was actually capping the market there, and you pull back, hold above it, because if we're expecting BTC, dollar index to pull back, I wouldn't mind any pullback, whichever it comes after this support over here and holds back. Once it reclaims this level there, that's my long, playing it back to the mid range, and then it fills out all this inefficiency right here. All right, this is all inefficiency that we got from this high there and this low there. This is all gaps to fill out, and then that'll be it. Target 1's done. Now, if we want to be bullish, reclaim and hold above it using the same weekly range, right? Playing it to target 2 and then target 3, taking out liquidity there. Once we get back above, which is the bullish play, what I was showing, then we can sell longs, playing it back to 75% of the range of September's range, and then the range high. That's pretty much it. Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I had a haircut the other day, man. I was looking at, like, Pirate saying I was looking like a fucking donkey in it, so it'll sort me out. What did I put? Kellyan is asking why did I put the fib on the high but not on this sweep low. It's because liquidity, because this was a weekly range. This low here and this high here was a weekly range. It's a weekly candle. That's what it is. That's what I'm using. And all I've got now, which makes sense to me now, oops, delete this. All I've got now is that is a deviation of the range. It makes more sense. So if I want to go long, like let's say if price was actually, there's a deviation over here, and then it holds above it, which it does, right? This is my invalidation right at the base over here. That'll be my invalidation. Hold above this high there. Bullish market structure, play it level to level. So, I mean, other people play different ways. What they'll tend to do is they'll use this high in particular and this low here, the swing highs, swing lows. You can do that, no problem. But I tend to use it slightly differently. I look at what the, where liquidity is resting. So I just take out whatever liquidity is out there. Does that make a bit of sense there? So that's what we're looking for. So I'll give you an example. I'll show you on the 1 week, which we just did. Liquidity last week. Ignore this week, yeah. Ignore that candle there. We're just looking at last week. We're just relating what last week is. Stop run, take out liquidity. Stop run, take out liquidity. That's it. We close within the range, within this range. So then that means the weekly range that I'm going to be focusing is off this range itself. Now, if I was going to be wrong, for example, on a one hour, right? It's going to be wrong. Right, we know the range low over here is the 25% of September's range. So whatever it does, if it comes back down and it doesn't give us a pullback and starts finding resistance, there's a trade to come back to range low, right? There's a quick little scalp to play there. I mean, stop loss around here, or whichever. Well, that's the invalidation, to be honest. And then you play it back down to range low, okay? And then once we lose this level here, so if we do something like this, break down, find resistance of these area here, this area here, breaks down, play it back into this level here, that'd be target 1, and then back into this area here, and that'd be target 2. and this low here is 2021's range low. Okay, and that's it. That's the area I'm looking for, playing it level to level. That's looking at both sides of the market. So that's ES. Now, Bernard, how you doing, brother? Nah, you're never late, my brother. Will BNB fill $50 fair value weekly deviation? Sahil, we discussed. Like I discussed this on the DCC. It could be. Well, if it does, I'd be quite happy to buy in as a long term hodl. I'm really like I was telling the guys from like in certain areas. We're gonna be hodling the shit out of it come 2023. If it comes to like $150, $75, or $80, or even $90 or whatever, there's certain areas that I'll be looking to buy as we gradually go down. That is my DCA. I don't do DCA during bear markets. I do DCA in consolidation periods. So I'm going to look what BTC is doing. As BTC started dropping down, BNB is going to be dropping down. So if we're all expecting BTC to drop down to 12K, if we're all expecting BTC to drop down to 12K, what's going to happen is BNB is not going to hold $300. They're not going to say, yeah, let's go. BNB is not going to push up. It's going to flow with the market because BTC and Ethereum is the king and the prince. You got to respect that. A lot of alts will pull back, and then they will have a very strong pullback if BTC proposes to drops to 12K. The question comes down to if it comes down to like $50 or if it comes down to $60 or $80, right? Are you going to buy? Now I discussed this with the team. I'm fucking buying, and I told them why, and I showed them a bunch of things. The guys know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's my hodl bag. And if it comes to like $50, fuck yeah, I'm buying. I'm buying heavy. There's areas I'm buying heavy. But then again, speaking about like you were just saying, in terms of in terms of like one second, in terms of the fair value gap, it doesn't have to fill out. It doesn't have to fill it out, right? It's there to be filled out. If it does get filled out, it gets filled out. If it doesn't get filled out, it doesn't get filled out. That's crypto for you. That's the market. The market isn't always going to follow all this fair value gap. For example, if I were to look at fair value gaps, well, quite clearly on the daily, we've got a bunch of fair value gaps on the upside. We've got fair value gaps over here. We've got fair value gaps here. Is it filling it out now? No way. It's not any. It's like whether if price gets up right above this range. This is a range bound environment right here, right? If price gets up and holds above it, yeah, let's fill out this fair value gap. Then that's another range over here. Then if price gets up and holds above it, yeah, let's fucking fill out this fair value gap there. That's another section there. Another one going all the way up there. We got more. We got loads of fair value gaps. So if another fair value gap is over here. This is all fair value gap. So if price gets up around here, right, and holds above it, yeah, let's fucking fill out the fair value gap. But look, we're talking about 54K. So price doesn't have to fill out the fair value gap now. It will fill it out whenever it wants. But the same can be said back in crypto over here, right? Look at this for example. If this one actually fills out the fair value gap, look, we had a fair value gap on the downside, right? So we dropped down here, right? This is back in 2018. We dropped down here in October. I still remember this well. All this fair value gap over here. Price consolidates in this area, smash above it, and we start grinding up, filling out all this fair value gap. That's all filled out. Then we leave a fair value gap right here, an inefficiency here. And this was back in April. This was April 2019. And we pushed up all the way up there. And then slowly, back in March 2020, only after a year later, we fill it out. We fill out the the gap itself. That's all filled out. And we have this. And then we start grinding up. So just don't worry too much about $50, this and that. Just play it level to level. If you're going to be focusing on $50, like look, if anyone were to focus on fair value gaps or inefficiencies all the time, remember, it's a style of trading. It's a style of trading to fill out. Price will come back to it eventually. When does it come back to it? We don't fucking know. It could happen next year. It can never happen. It will do whatever it wants. Because if we look at Bitcoin back in the days, there's fair value gaps of $1,000 which has never been filled out, or inefficiencies at $1,000 has never been filled out. So don't focus on, oh yeah, $50. Be prepared for $50. Yeah, and what you've got in mind of it being filled out, be prepared for it, but doesn't mean that it's gonna come there. Like I'm happy to, because price can come to $75. Let's show you BNB, USDT. Quickly just go into it. Right, we've got an area consolidation right over here. Okay, this is the consolidation. We've got inefficiencies over here to be filled out. Inefficiencies over here. Inefficiencies over here. All right. We've got inefficiencies going a lot more lower to like $40 or some shit like that. Okay. Price is capped in this between here and there. We can come back down, do something like this, bounce into this area here, and reclaim this here. And then we shoot up, holding this level there, go back to range high, bullish market. We're in 2024, and let's go up to like $1,000 or whatever, and we never fill this out. But if you're so focused on this area here, what's going to happen? You're going to miss out the opportunity to buy over here. So, like I said, there's areas I'm looking to buy. This is one, and then this is another one. There's loads of opportunities there. We'll work it out as the time goes. Does that make sense? You're welcome, Kellyanne. Kalo Iron. Is it Iron? That's not right. Kalo Ian. Bro, I'm gonna call you Big K. Big K. Is that better? Is that alright with you? So TA is asking, brother, how much is your net worth? If I may ask, do you swing or day trade? How much do you trade? Bro, that's a bit of a... My net worth is like fucking $50, man. That's how much I have. And do I swing trade? So what is my net worth? My net worth is like $50. I day trade, and how much do you trade per trade? About 50 cents per trade. That's what I do. Hopefully that helps. I don't understand how this helps anyone. What I have, you know, whether I have $50 or 7 donkeys worth. I think 7 donkeys worth is too much for me. I don't have that. I probably have like an arm and a leg of a donkey. But I don't understand how is that important to anything. Like, are you gonna tell me what your net worth is and how much do you swing trade or day trade and how much you trade per trade? That's a very bro. My mom don't ask me that question, and you're gonna ask me that. That's a weird ass question. What a nunty, bro. Shut the fuck up. My mom don't ask me how much I've got, and you're gonna ask me how much I have. Fucking hell, I don't even know you, brother. Give me your name. Pink, bruv, it's red. Oh man, some people here, man, I don't know. You get loads of that. The best thing is, right, during bull market, right, is when they be like, oh sir, I've got fees to pay and this and that to pay and this and that. And I don't know if it's true or not. Like, I've helped like a number of people in the bull market. Listen to this now. I helped this one geezer that said to me that he had to pay like $1,000 of like his dad's medical bills and whatever. Showed me a document of his dad's medical bills. I think it was about $1,200 or some shit like that. And obviously losing my father, and I don't know if he did that on purpose or whatever. I don't know. Like, I trust the guy. Like, if it was wrong, like if he scammed me, he scammed me. May God forgive him. If I did something right, may God reward me for this anyway. And this is what happened. So he sent me this the message about how he's got to pay his dad's medical bills, blah blah. Showed me this documentation or whatever. Like, so it all looks legit. That's the thing. It all looks legit. It's like in Pakistani in a hospital in Pakistan, right? And I remember this one. I remember I looked at it. I'm like, rah, okay, send me your address in it. And he sends me your address, and it's like $1,200. So I gave him $1,500. For me, it was like, okay, I'll help the guy out because I know his dad, this and X, Y, and Z. And he's like, oh, thank you, sir. He's like, I'll pay you back. I'm like, brother, you don't need to pay me back. It's good in it. Like, you know, just look after your dad in it. I never heard of him, right? And like, I never heard from him afterwards or whatever. It's all blessing it. I didn't really think about it. Next thing is, right, I remember I had a conversation about this with an influencer. I was like, yo, do you get that a lot? And he's like, because it was happening a lot. Like, very similar stories was happening this a lot. And I was like, yeah, I gave a guy $1,200, like $1,500, blah blah. And they're like, bro, it's a scam. I'm like, nah, it can't be, because like you could, like, I don't like thinking that they're scamming me, right? Because, you know, if you're asking for help in for the sake of your mother or your sake of your father, like, it's a very dark hole to go in. You know, it's a very, very evil, dark hole to even use. Like, I'm guessing some people have the heart to do it, but I don't have the heart to say, yeah, my mom's got like you know, is dying and shit like that, and if I don't pay this up, like, the doctor's gonna pull the plug out. You know, yeah, you're saying professional scammers, but I don't know if I like, maybe I don't think I'm gullible, but I want to believe them. I want to believe them. You know, I have some pay for. Can you give me $100? Fucking hell. No, but it's true though. It happened in Dubai. Yeah, a lot of YouTubers show their net worth, but I don't. Have you ever seen me show my net worth? I don't really care about thingy. But what? That's the thing is, TA. You're saying a lot of YouTube streamers show off their network, and then you know YouTube streamers showing his followers, his total net worth. Like, brother, are you kidding me? Just say no next time. But listen, They showed it themselves. Did you ask them to show it, and they responded back to you, say, you know what, TA, I'm gonna show you. Is that how it is, or did they show it themselves automatically without anyone asking? There's a difference here. You know, it's very different. So if you want to go, just you know what, give me a second. You can fuck off, man. There we go. He's hidden. Stupid idiot, man. Just because other YouTubers are doing certain things doesn't mean I do it. And even even I have $10 billion, why would I want to show you my account? I don't want to show you $10 billion so you can find out where I live and say, yo, Dank's got 10 billion, let's rob his fucking yard. Fuck that. I'm not stupid, man. Anyone asks me how much I have, I got $50. Right, that's it. $50. I don't trade. I don't have any size. Yep, it's true. I don't trade with size. Yep, it's true. I don't trade with, you know, I'm bullshitting it. Yes, it's true. I don't know how to do TA. Yes, it's true that I'm really bad at this. Yes, it's true. I failed. Yes, it's true. I failed as a pharmacist, as a doctor. I failed as a technical analysis. So yeah, whatever. Move on in it. Did you poo today? How did I smell it? What are you talking about, fam? Dubai is mad. Story time. So Dubai, on my last day in Dubai, right? So I was fucking in let me have a cigarette, man. So what happened was, yeah, I know, but you know what is, sure, I'll tell you something, like, so if you're gonna come back at me and be like, oh, you know, you're gonna come back at me, and then you're gonna compare me with other YouTubers, I'm not like that. Do you see Trader SE showing his net worth? No. Do you see EXO showing his net worth? No. Do you see, like, oh no, who else do we have? Like amazing. Do you see guys like Muro showing his net worth? No. Why do I have to show my net worth or tell you my net worth? I'm broke, fam. Bro, I'm so broke, right? I'm living at my mom's garage, man. This is not my house. This is my mom's house, isn't it? That's how broke I am. Someone's going to edit this and say, yeah, Dank's broke. That's what's going to happen next. Yeah, so story time. So what happened was, I was in Dubai in January, right? Now, on the last day of Dubai, it was the evening at like 11 o'clock at night. And I'll start packing up because the next day I'm flying off, right? My flight's like 12, like, I think it's like 2 o'clock. My flight's at 2 o'clock. And like the lads are going to drop me off to the airport, I think about around 12ish, right? Like, to be honest, right? Like, they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything like, yeah, we're going to drop you off. I kind of got the feeling like I'm going to take a cab myself. And I didn't want to disturb anyone because, they got shit to do in it. So like, and obviously they heard that, like, yeah, I was going to take a cab and they got offended by this. They're like, bro, are you fucking mad? But anyway, so I was like, guys, I've got to head down to the shop. There's like, we're staying in the marina, and down on the 87th floor, it's a beautiful place. It was beautiful. It was a banging place as well. Then basically what happened was, down at the bottom, you come out around the corner. There's like a corner shop. There's like a convenience store, and I used to go there to buy cigarettes in it. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm flying back to the UK. Cigarettes are dirt cheap here. Let me go down, and I'm gonna buy like fucking $200 worth of cigarettes, which is like, I end up buying, I don't know how much I bought, but I know I bought like 8 cartons of cigarettes, right? And so the geezer goes like, I ain't got 8 cartons of these Marlboro thingy, these ones in it. So he's like it's from he can get it from another shop. He'll be, just give us like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, bless, bro. I was like, uncle, listen, I'm gonna be outside and I'm gonna have a cigarette. Just take your time. So I go outside. And this geezer comes up, right? Now, listen to this now. Let me tell you his dress sense, right? Before, and don't judge, right? Just let me just tell you what happened. Geezer comes, right? Walks up to me, right? He's got like a blazer on, got jeans on, got a black shirt on. I remember this really well. He looks kind of slick, hair's all done and whatever. Like Asian brother. It's an Asian brother comes over. And he's like, and I'm having a cigarette. And I'm not really bothered, like who you are, what you are, whatever. I'm just doing my own thing in it. Comes over to me, he's trying to have a conversation to me, and straight off the spot, I literally, like, I paid the guy, like, the dirhams I had, I literally emptied all my dirhams on cigarettes. That literally was it. Whatever dirhams I had, which would end up buying 8 thingy, I'd emptied on cigarettes. And I got no cash on me. I straight away say, I got no cash on me in it. He's like, no, I'm not here for money, this and that. I'm just here to just have, I just want to talk to you about my story. And I was like, I'm a sucker for when people tell me their story. That's the truth. I'm a sucker. Smokes in Canada 18 fucking out, bruv. It's like, I don't know how much it is, man. It's mad expensive. I'm back on roll-ups. That's how poor I am. So Geezer tells me a story that he's got to pay for his rent and stuff like that. He come from Pakistan or India, somewhere like that, and he's living in an apartment with 8 other guys, all sharing the room together. One room, right, with 8 guys in there, and he's telling me this bit, pretty much sad story. And his family's back home, and he came over here to Dubai to actually send money back home. X Y Z. It's been pretty difficult for him. Now, when he's telling me the story, I'm relating this to my father. And when my father came to this country in 1989, he always told me he came in this country with a plastic bag, and in the plastic bag he had his boxers, a pair of socks, and £50 in his pocket. That's all he started off in this country. And when he left with a very, like, alhamdulillah, by God's blessing, he worked his ass off, right? And I felt it. I remember my dad told me a story when he came to France. He came to France first before he came to the UK, and he shared a room with 6 guys. 6 guys, he shared a room, and it was like 20 euros for like 20 francs. At that time, it was francs. It wasn't euros. 20 francs per week he had to pay as well. And like when he was telling me this shit, I was like, really, I felt it. I was like, it was a pinnacle moment for me. I was like, listen, I know that I've got money in the bank, and this guy's asking for help. He's not saying that he wants help. He's saying to me, he just wants to tell me a story. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I said, look, is there a cash point around here? I'll give you some money, because he needs to pay for his rent. He says it was coming to the end of the month as well, and he needs to pay his rent. And his rent was like £50, it was worth around 50 quid. That's how much it was for the month. I go, is there any cash point? I'll help you with your rent. And I remember I walked to the and he knew where the ATM was, bro. The geezer knew where the ATM was. I go there, give him his, I go to the ATM, and I remember I'm standing there. I'm like, Ya Allah, oh God, guide me on this, right? My father went in a similar position a long time ago, and like by his blessing, he had his cousin to help him out. This guy he's here alone, he's got nowhere else. I was like, give me a sign. Like in my head, I'm like, give me a sign. Do I give him 50 or do I give him more? And when I said to myself, do I give him 50 or do I give him more? I'm like, what a dickhead. How am I going to say, give me a sign to give him more? I'm like, fuck it. Let's double it up. So I withdrew $100 worth of dirhams, and I gave it to him. And like, he was really happy. He hugged me. He was like, really, he was crying. The geezer was crying. And I got touched by it. Really got touched by it. So I go back to the shop, pick up my cigarettes. I go back to the apartment. Go back to the apartment, and the guys are there, right? And I'm telling them, they're like, because I left my phone upstairs on charge, and they're proper worried. It's been like about 45 minutes now. So what the fuck is Daink gone? Come back in, and they're like, what the fuck, man? Where'd you be? I'm like, bro, I told them the story in it, and I told them the story, and they were like, how do he look like? So I told him how he looks like, this and that, X, Y, and Z. He's got a little mole on his nose. I'm like, yeah, he's got a mole on his nose, isn't it? And they're like, we gave him money like 2 days ago. Told me the same story. My heart just dropped, man. I was so sad. I was like, raw, this geezer knew like it tricked me. Fucking dickhead, man. But that's what it is, man. You get these kind of nonsense all the time. But what can you do? At the end of the day, right? Like, you rob me, it's no problem. At the end of the day, like, I hope it helps you. I hope you don't get punished for this as well. I mean, they always say what goes around comes around. So, I don't know. I mean, you're always gonna get people who's gonna try and scam you, and that's the sad thing about this world. You just don't know who's real, who's not. I want to help. I want to help who I can help, but turns out I get tricked a lot. I probably get tricked a lot. So anyway, let's go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is quite interesting. Let's talk about Bitcoin. BNB. Fuck that. Bitcoin. Yeah. Hard times make hard men. True, 100%. It is definitely hard times at the moment. Brother, I'm suffering from no woman syndrome. Please send me an invoice at 250 so I can buy a Lambo. Why geezer? Bro, women are dangerous, man. They're dangerous. You don't know who's real, who's not, especially nowadays. They're all just thinking fucking they just want peace, innit? They just want to be. There's very few women out there who wants to be loved. There's more women out there who wants just money. They say they want what you call it, security, protection, and stuff like that. But what if you can't provide security to them, but you can offer them protection? But they don't want that. They want the security. So you can be a pussy hole itself completely, right? Like you could be like me, like weak and shit, and then can't defend it, can't fight. And at the same time, I have loads of money, and then you have women flocking to you. But you can have like like someone who's like big and tough, right? Someone like who's strong and whatnot. Someone like Derry, man. Derry from Nigeria is a big ass black man as well. And you have someone like Derry who can fuck me up, right? But he's got no peace. For example, I'm just giving an example. I'm not acting you, Derry. I'm using you as an example because I saw your name here. You can have someone like Derry who can provide protection but no security, but they'll flock to the guy with security, and you're like, what the fuck? So it's hard out there. So, and you wonder why men are being gay. You wonder why men are being gay, because you ain't gonna get another geezer saying to another geezer like, listen, can you provide me security? So it's like they just want to be loved in it. Men just want to be loved in it. Women just want security. That's a difference there. So there's gonna be a lot of single women out there. I'm telling you, a lot of single women out there. A lot of gay guys are coming out. I mean, nothing wrong with gay guys, isn't it? I'm just saying, just to you, like, there's an issue here. There's an issue why we have more women in the world than we have men, but these women want just like 0.1% of the men. There's not enough. There's not enough 0.1% around to go to these thingies. So then, what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to be gay in it. It's like a couple of dicks in here and there. I'm joking. I'm messing. But I don't know. It's a weird world out there. Very, very weird world. I keep my head to myself. I don't want to get involved in any drama with women and stuff like that. If anyone asks me like, oh yeah, are you single? Daink, bruv, I'm married. I'm happy. I'm cool. Like even if I wasn't married, I would say yeah, I'm married. I don't know who to trust nowadays. I just don't know who to trust. Fucking women. There was I can tell you loads of stories, but fuck it. You know what? This is going off topic now. Mr. M, what's good on my window? Walaikum salam. Good to have you here, brother. Right, let's go to Bitcoin. What time? Fucking that story time went on for a long time. Shit, man. So, from the daily perspective, let's just squeeze this in now. We got the monthly open, got the monthly low and monthly high so far. This is November's low and November's high. No time for women again. Yeah, man, Derry, fucking let's do our thing in it. They will come to us, innit? They will come to us. And even if they come to me, I like fucking. I don't want to get involved. I just don't want to get involved. I don't want to mix business and pleasure. Like pleasure is pleasure, and that's it, man. But like, I'm happy to actually just do my thing and focus on my thing, innit? Anyway, so let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is So we got the weekly open, right? From this last week's weekly open. The weekly open here is at the moment. For this new weekly open is there. This is the monthly open. But really and truly, we've got November's low so far, November's high. Now, if I were to do right. And this is like, you can place a long. You can place a long, right? Because again, remember I said to you, if we're above the monthly open, right, we're bullish. If we're below the monthly open, we're bearish. Because when we come back down, break down, and start grinding down. Above the monthly open, we start grinding up. So we have this like view what's going on. So if you want to go long, you can go long here. Your stop loss, your validation will have to be here, all right? That's where your hard stop is. Again, someone talked about fair value gaps. This is a fair value gap. Does it fill it out? We don't know. We don't entirely know. We'll figure out as the time comes. From an outlook perspective, right, what can happen? Gandalf. Out of all these days you've been here, now you're going to tell me about you can't pay for your pills. Your blue pills as well. For those who don't know what blue pills are, he's not talking about Viagra. He's talking about a medication called amitriptyline. Amitriptyline can be used for the nerves. It's a nerve killer. They come as blue pills, depending on what branding they are. I'm still a medical professional, so I know what I'm talking about. Right. Blue pills, man. It's a weird thing as well. When that came out, when you can buy Viagra over the counter, man. Loads of young guys were buying this. Loads of young guys. And that one of the questions you got to ask as a healthcare professional is like, do you take any recreational drugs? And they all say no, because they know if they say yes, we can't sell it. We can't sell it over the counter. But they all say no. So it's one of those ones, a weird one. But yeah, like I was saying. So if I was looking at this, right, from an outside perspective, right, price can come back to the monthly open, because look, this is the monthly open. We found resistance and we smashed above it, and it makes sense to do a retest of the monthly open. We're expecting a pullback on dollar index. If we're expecting a pullback on dollar index, Bitcoin and Ethereum will start to push down, which makes sense. Okay, no problem there, right? I'm talking about short term. Now, like I said, if you want to be long, you can be long with a hard stop here. But the problem is we got this mid-range here. This mid-range comes in at 21.7k, and you'll be targeting target 1 over here. Once we get above the mid-range and hold above it, then we play it to the next target, target 2 at 23.2k, which is 75% of range. And after that, we're looking for the next set of targets will be a range high, 24.7k. Let's go, yeah, 24.6k. Let's front run the shit out of it, right? And that's what it is. It's a range man perspective, nothing else. I mean, just looking at this, we could be just grinding as a pullback, right? Pullback, grind back up, mid-range, play it back to 75 and play it back to range high. Probably front running into this area here, around these lows of around 24.4, around 24.3. I'll front run the shit out of it first, and then from there we'll see, is this a breakout for the upside, or is this a deviation to come back down? And if it is a deviation, we'll short this back to 75, back to range low. That's pretty much the range band perspective that we're looking at. Okay, now going on the hourly, what can we see here? We bounced quite nicely off last week's open, right? Let me just bring this up here. We bounced quite nicely off last week's open, right? So we've got a range bound perspective over here, right? So let me just draw a range, right? So we've got this range high, cap in the market, and I'd say probably use this range low here, right? That's cap in the market. You can see quite clearly support, support, support. This high, it was resistance, smash up, resistance, deviation, resistance, sells off. And we sell off, right, off the weekly open, which means that, like, look, again, right, it can still be bullish. Just looking at this, it can still be bullish, right? I'm not trading just yet. I'm going to wait for things to actually set out and give me a clear plan. So you see this area here of consolidation that's happened there. That's where prices bounce off there. So there's no problem there. So if it's bounced off here and shows me bullish market structure, reclaim this level here, hold the 75% range, I can play it back into range high, into 21k. Once we get to 21k, we'll see what happens if we hold above it, and then we can play it back, taking out these stops all over here. We got a trend line coming up, as you can see. So it does make sense, right? If it were to be a pullback, we can come back into here, do a deviation and play back down. We don't know. Or is it a breakout to the upside? We'll find out level to level. So looking as a range band perspective, this is the range I'm looking at, okay? That's quite simple, not nice and easy. At the same time, we've got the weekly open. Weekly open comes into where? Where's the weekly open? It's right here. This motherfucker right here. The weekly open right here, and you can see, right, there's too many oranges here. Let me just change this, but it's black. Yeah, that makes it simple there. From a scalping point of view, right, if we were to reclaim and hold above here, scalping point of view would be target 1 here, hold this up there, right, then we can play target 2 into these areas, probably front running into this as target 3 and target 4, right? Yeah, 1 2 3, sorry, that's it, 3, and then from there we'll see what happens. I'm quite cautious about this particular area here, because this could be an area of resistance, come back down, break down below the weekly open. That's just short confirmation over here, play it back down, back to weekly open, last week's weekly open, and then into the mid-range, and that will make sense to the mid-range. So I'm quite cautious about that. From a scalping point of view, we'll see how this works out. At the same time, if we're expecting dollar index to pull back, I want to see how we actually pull back with in terms of Bitcoin. Bitcoin can start pulling back down, and if we find resistance, let's just go on the 15 minutes, try and find day trade, 10 minutes, let's go. Right now, it's a valid trade, right? So actually take us, so you see this particular area here, change the color there. See this particular area here? This is all the resistance that's happened here. This area consolidation broke out, retest, come up, retest this, do a stop run over there. It's a swing failure. I can take a stop. I can take a quite aggressive trade of a stop loss above here, right? And then play in hopes for it to play back down to the weekly open and then the mid range and then the monthly open there. But I wouldn't take a trade just yet. I'm gonna let it do its thing. Once we break back down, that's the shorting opportunity. Play it back down, short term play, back, take out these lows there, come into the 25% range over there. Well, sorry, the weekly range. We find a resistance 75% range off the weekly open, last week's weekly open. Break down from here, and then we come back into the mid range and squeeze it down to monthly open. That's a potential trade that I'm looking to look for as well. So I'm gonna let it do its thing and see what happens for me to play, because we can come back up into here, into this basic consolidation, right? So look, from a scalp play, we can come back up into here, retest the weekly open, lose this particular low over here, right? Once we lose this low there, this is all consolidation, right? Focus on this area. It's all consolidation. Come back down, breaks below here. This will be my shorting opportunity with a stop loss over here, right? Hard stop again will be over here, playing it back down to 75% range. This is a trend line, lose this trend line, so we can do something like this. You have a trend line right here, lose the trend line there. That's your confirmation. Enter in, stop loss over here, I'd say. Oh man, I'm gonna respond back to that in a bit. And then play it back down to 75% range, and then sorry, weekly open, last week's weekly open, mid range, and then we go to monthly open, and that's pretty much the trade of the day I'm looking for. Short term, nothing else. If we like a scalp play, I can play off a scalp play on the 5 minutes. It's this. We've got this high that's capping the market here quite clearly. Okay, we've also got a trend line coming up, right? Now let it do its thing. If it breaks out of it, holds above it, this is my confirmation for me to enter in on a quick scalp into these areas here, into the weekly open, looking to see if we can play up the range high at any key level, right? At any key level. So let's just say from these lows here, if we come into these lows here and starts breaking down, right? So just look, I think on the 1 minute or a lower time frame, bearish market structure, I cut the trade because it's a scalp. I want to look for a reason to cut this trade because we can come back in here, and if it starts playing back down, we can flip bias, going back down to the range itself. Nothing too complicated there. If it was to be a bit more of a fucking play, right? This is one way we're looking at. The second way I'm looking at this is this, right? So it's gone the 1 hour. I'm used this particular range. A second play you can use is using the current September's and November's high with the current November's low. November's low comes right off here, right? So it's this low here and this high here. And look what happened. We're at the mid range. It tells us a very different story, that there's resistance over here. So again, the plan still comes down to playing it back into the weekly open, squeezing back into this area here. Then from there, we'll see what happens. Do we come back into the 25% range? That's another possibility to squeeze it back down. Once we get back above the monthly open and hold above it, it's bullish, right? And that will be the deviation, whatever it is, the deviation of the monthly open. But I want to be a bit cautious about this, because if we start selling off, right, and start breaking down, I'm playing it back to level, and then we'll see how we take out a new lows for November. And if it were to come back down, do a retest, and do something like this, then it's fucking bad. It's fucking bad. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm gonna play this level to level. It's really more of a short day trade and more scalps here and there. Dr. Daink, thank you so much. Yeah, more of a short-term trade, scalping here and there. Nothing too complicated. I don't want to take too much risk as a time being. Same thing that can be applied on I'll delete this. I was doing this myself. Same thing can be applied on Ethereum. Ethereum, not this chart, right? This chart? No, that's not the chart. Where the fuck is it? No. Where's the fucking chart? That's not it. It's not it. It's not it. Oh shit. Alright then, cool. Never mind. June range. Let me just do this again properly. I don't know what happened there. 1 hour, 1 month. This is July's range. July's high. There we go. July's high. There we go. So nothing much can be said. What it looks like off the monthly, all we've done so far is just taking that last month's high, and which means if you start breaking down and lose this level there, the balance could be come back to the mid range. It makes sense for the mid range to come back in place. So if I use the weekly, right? Weekly, you can see we're taking that last week's high, and we close within the range of last week's range. Oops, fuck off. Last week's range. We close within last week's range. So again, using the range bound environment, which we showed about, right? The mid range comes to 1494. So I want to see how 1494 holds into place. Do we come back, hold support? Off we go. We'll figure that out as the time comes. I need to mark out the monthly open and the daily open, weekly open as well. Well, monthly open is the key thing. Monthly comes in at right here. Put that as purple and label that coordinates text as monthly open. That's fine. What's going on, Jed? How you doing? Good to have you here. So the monthly open, we're chopping around the monthly open. It's a little bit, again, difficult to say. I've been paying attention to Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is doing as well. In honesty, we have a trend line going on the daily right here. So use this. Oops. Use this slow here. No, I'll probably use this slow. Yeah. Okay. Use this slow there, and you can see that's the trend line. If we lose this trend line here, what happens? Breakdown, find resistance. This is your shorting opportunity, playing it back down to the mid range, and it comes back into this area consolidation. Let me just hide my face for a second. There we go. And it comes back into the consolidation right over here. Because what it is, if you look at it this way, this should be purple as well. I don't know why this is fucking red. Right? If you look at it this way, off a daily, this is the range band environment, right? So we've got 90. Yeah, this is the range high. Why is it doing circles, man? Fuck off. That's the range high, and that's the range low. And all we've got, this is the consolidation of the period, right? Breakout, retest, hold above it, comes back to the mid-range of 1394, hold above it, and then we can play it back to level to the monthly open and squeeze into 75%. Once we reclaim the monthly open, this is the monthly open there, holds above the monthly open, bullish market structure, let's go, squeeze it back to range high, and then from there we'll see what happens. Probably I'll front run it into here, into this area here. This is the last consolidation here that send the market back down, and then from there we'll see what happens. Does it break out, or does it decides to do a deviation, come back down, and we play it level to level? That's all it is. Simple as that. Nothing else, nothing too complicated. So again, midterms coming up. Don't want to get too drastic about anything as well. Just want to play this as it comes around. Okay. So that's that on the 4 hours. No, fuck that. On the 1 hour, what do we have here? We got a range band environment coming up, right? So what is the range band environment? Let me hide all this up. We know we've got this level here. 1400 is the key area. So I'm going to mark this out already. That's 2 hours. What the fuck's on 2 hours? I'm going to mark this out already. Right here. Okay. Bring me up. There we go. Boo. So now I know this is a key level here, which is the July's mid-range. Okay. That's all it is. We know we have some, let me hide my face for 1 second and show it to you. We know we've got inefficiency right here, right? We've got all this inefficiency here. I'm not too fast to be coming to these highs there. I'm just going to focus on 1400. That's it. Keep it nice and simple, nice and easy going, okay? So bring me up and let's make a plan. We have a range band environment. What is the range band environment that's going on? So if I were to, oops, do this over there. Yeah. If I were to do this, I'd probably say it's this high here to this low there. That's the low and the highest cap in the market there. If I change the color, right? Actually, you know what? Let me label this up. So we got high, low, and mid-range. Right? Hide all this. There we go. We got a range band environment. Okay. At the same time, if I want to do this, do the trend line. Let's do the trend line for the sake of it, for the sake of argument's sake. Let's use this low here. Does it give us? Yeah, you can use it like that. Yeah, fuck it, let's leave it like that, right? So support over here, support over there, pretty much. Deviation, support, support, support. Okay, so this is a key factor there. We're coming to the mid-range, right? Which means we're going to come find some resistance. Where's the resistance? It will be off this little area of consolidation right over here, okay? Just right in this area, okay? So if you were to come up there, do it wherever this thing breaks down, shows bearish market structure. This is a trade for me with a stop loss over here, playing it back into the trend line, back over here. Let's target one, and we'll see what happens. If we come back up and retest this and lose this level here, breaks down off these lows itself, then we can short this back down to range low. And that's all we're doing. We're playing within this range. It's going to be in this range until proven otherwise. If it starts breaking down, right, that's another trade, playing it all the way down to 1400. Obviously, we're going to watch out how this area works, because if you look here, this is the last down candle. Send the market back up, right, on the hourly. And as you can see, right, I'm not too fond about this down candle here. The reason why, because below it is all fucking inefficiencies, which we discussed. Let me show you again one more time. See all that inefficiency there? It's all inefficiency. So I'm not too fond about it. The moment we lose a fucking level, it's game over, you know what I'm saying? And then we can play it back into 1400 and see what happens. That's the shorting scenario, right? There's you know, scalps over here, and this will be more of your day trade. and then this is more extension play as we break down level to level, right? But if I were to go to it for a long, right, how would I get into a long? Well, I wouldn't go long here because we're at mid-range. Mid-range is gonna be acting as resistance. Everyone agrees with that? So what I'll be looking for, if we do something like this, break up, hold above it, reclaim this block over here, right? Then that was all a deviation on the mid-range. I know that's a hard stop over here. This is my validation levels right over here. Playing it back, we got all this here, and once we break out of this, because let me just draw this out. This makes sense. Erase this shit for a second, and let's just draw this line. Got a trend line coming up here, right? I want to be cautious, right? Because we could do this, do a deviation and come back up, and I'll be happy to enter in with a stop loss over here, playing it back into the mid-range, lose the mid-range, plan for the shorts as discussed, right? That's what I'll be looking for. Now, if by any chance we do actually decide to break above on the upside, do this, break up, find support off the block, find support of the trend line, and then that's your long in opportunity. This is all a deviation. Hard stop will be over here. You're playing it back to the range high. That's what we're looking for, and see how it goes. Probably front run it as target 1 into this particular low there. As you can see, that was key, you know, off a lower time frame. That was support, breaks down resistance. So ideally, what will end up happening will be something like this. Come into here, that'll be target 1. See how we react. If we start breaking down, you cut the trade. If we reclaim, hold the fucking trade, back to range high, and that's it. Then we'll see what happens. Do we do something like that, break out and find support off these highs, and then we have a continuation to $1,800? We don't know. We'll see what happens level to level, but 1,700 will definitely be an area that I'll be looking for, and then from 1,700 confirmation on the upside. That's pretty much it. That's BTC and Ethereum done as a day trade plan, as an idea of what we're looking for going forward into the week itself, and being a bit cautious with midterms election. Not really looking for anything. Come tomorrow, we'll have Monday's range, and we can see how what Monday's range play out. See where liquidity gets taken out on either side of the direction, and play within the Monday's range, and then play on the breakout on the Monday's range. That's pretty much it. But that's it for me, guys. I don't really have much more to say about the market itself. But I appreciate you guys coming on. I really appreciate that, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And have a great day. Stay safe. I'm not looking to buy any alts yet. Spot buys. I'm just gonna let the market run and then find out what's happening. A lot of alts has pulled back quite heavily. Let it do its thing there. I don't think much is gonna happen, but we'll see what happens come tomorrow. Well, by Wednesday-ish, we'll have a much more clearer direction of what's going on. So take care of yourself, guys. Thank you so much for actually being on the show. Smash the likes, everybody, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. All right, take care, everybody.